Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl here, it's me Queen T. I know you guys are going to look at me right now like, wasn't she wearing that on Monday? Yes, I was. Yes, I was. But this video that I'm recording, I recorded it right after I finished my makeup. And I decided to just do the story time right after. So yes, the swatches are still on my hands. If you guys want to know which video I'm talking about, I'll leave a link to that video down below so you guys can see how I got this look and this glow. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into today's story time. Now, I explained in my tutorial where I did this look that this story time is going to break down into 3 parts, just cause if I do them all together it's going to be so long and I don't want that. So I'm just going to break it down into 3 parts, and after that then I'll get into different story times. I'm even thinking to do some challenges on my channel here. I'm thinking to also do some never have I ever challenges, so that's going to be fun. I'm going to get like a bunch of my friends and family to come along and do it with me so you guys can all be entertained, because this is what I'm all about. I'm all about entertaining you guys. Okay, now this story time, I do not know what I'm going to name this story time, but this story time, I promise it is leading up to something that happened in my high school that was so bad, right? So I'm just going to, the reason why I'm telling this story, this particular story, is because when I mention certain characters in part 3, I want you guys to understand who I'm talking about. So alright, what happened was, now I came to Canada in 2008. And I'm originally Guyanese, just in case if you guys are wondering. I came from Guyana, that's where I was born and raised. And in 2008, I came to Canada. And I started going to high school right after the March break. A lot of people know me. Once they look at this story time, they'll know exactly who I am and all of that good stuff. So I started high school after the March break, and literally I was a loner. I knew nobody. Obviously, I'm fresh off the boat from Guyana, so I know nobody, I know nowhere. And when I came, it was, I don't know if you guys remember, for those who live in Canada, in 2008 we had that huge snowstorm. So that's what I came into. So starting high school now, I remember coming home from high school one day and I got lost because it's this whole new world. I don't know nowhere, I don't know nobody, and it was pretty hectic. So one of the girls who attended my high school, she also attended my church, and she was also living very close to me. So my mom decided to talk to her and, like, you know, so that she can take me around and show me to certain places, introduce me to certain people, and so on and so forth. Now, she was one of those, quote unquote, I don't know, let's say that she was one of those popular people in high school. So she knew a lot of people. She is Canadian, but her background is Jamaican. So let's call her light skin. So light skin introduced me to a bunch of her friends and a bunch of Jamaican people. So me living back in Guyana, dancing was my life. Like dancing was my bread and butter. Like that's what I used to do on the regular. That's what I live for. Like even if music is not playing, like I would be dancing. So the girl, what's her name again? Light Skin. So Light Skin was also a part of the dance group at church, and she knew that I could dance. So she introduced me also to the dancers at the school. And sadly, she had a death in her family, so she had to go back to Jamaica for the funeral or whatever. And the people that she introduced me to, those are the people that I became much closer to. And it was so funny. Like, all right, so in the school cafeteria, for those who live in Guyana do not know what a cafeteria is. Cafeteria is where you go, you eat your lunch, you buy your lunch, you go, you sit down at the tables and you eat your lunch or whatever. But it's one day in the cafeteria, I walked into the cafeteria to go buy my lunch, and there was no tables, like there were no benches or nothing to sit on, nothing at all. So I'm like, what is this? What's going on? And then there was this loud music, and I saw my Jamaican friends. So I went over to them and I was like, okay, what is going on? They're like, girl, it's a dance battle. Like, we do this very often and stuff like that. I'm like, did you just say dance? Did you just say my name? Okay. So I'm not a hip hop dancer. I'm not a break dancer or nothing. But these guys were killing it. You know, they're crump dancers and they're just getting in with it. And I'm standing there and I'm so amazed because I remember living back in Guyana when You Got Served came out and Save the Last Dance, and I was like, so this is what it's all about. Like, I'm seeing this live for the first time in front of my eyes, and these guys are just killing it. So at one point they had a break, and I told the Jamaican girls, I'm like, you know, I can dance or whatever, like that's what I always do back home. I compete and whatever. So they were like, okay. So another time we had the same thing at the school again, and my Jamaican friends were like, you know what? Okay. So when they had a break, dancehall came on, and I can't remember for the life in me. I was trying to remember this for the longest while which song it was that came on, but it was one of those songs that was big back in the days. I think it was that Mr. Vega song, Gal rock and come in, shake up your body like a tambourine. I'm trying to remember if it was that song. I think it was. But whatever it was, like, I came on and I lie. The break came on, the dance hall came on. And my Jamaican friend, we're gonna call her Tiana, right? Tiana was a tomboy. Once I talk this story and once I say the word tomboy, everybody's gonna know who I'm talking about. So she was literally a tomboy, and she dressed like a boy and everything, and like the whole school was scared of this Tiana, right? So I remember Tiana pushed me in the middle, and I just thought it was by accident. So I'm like, oh. And I ran back because, you know, I'm fresh to Canada, fresh to the school, me dancing, no, you know? So Tiana pushed me into the circle, and I thought it was an accident, like I said, so I ran back. And when I ran back, Tiana was like, I'm like, oh. So I just went back into the circle and I started dancing. And like, back in those times, well, me coming from Guyana, TikTok is whatever it is, but I guess in Canada, at that time, TikTok was like the biggest dance ever. And to me, it was nothing, you know, because we do this every day. Like, randomly, we just move our waistline and start TikToking or whatever. So I started doing it. Okay, rude. So I started doing TikTok or whatever, and everybody started screaming. They're like, what? Hold on, who's this girl? You know, like, everybody started questioning who I was and whatever, where I'm from, and you know. So the girls, Tiana and like a few other Jamaican girls, they started going crazy. They're like, girl, I didn't know you could dance. And that's where the whole thing came with, that's how this name came up. Everybody started finding out who I was, and they're like, oh, she's Guyanese. And eventually they started calling me the Guyanese dancer. And yeah, so moving along now, I started meeting lots of people, and one of the guys, we're gonna call him D. So D was the darkest person I've ever seen in my life, but the cutest I've ever seen in my life. So he was one of the best dancers at the school at that time. And I remember D, like, after D saw me dance, like, everybody started talking to me and stuff like that. And I remember D came to me and he started questioning. He's like, oh, you're cute, and oh, you're from where? Guyana? And okay, and well, like there was a bunch of stuff. Like he just started talking to me. I'm like, boy, you cute. But I didn't had that much like for D because light skin, her cousin used to take us to school every single morning. Like I would walk from my house and go to her house, and then her cousin would come and grab us and take us to school. We all went to the same school. So I remember being so deeply in love with light-skinned cousin, and I told her. And one of the girls that I used to hang out with, she's also Jamaican, still pretty as ever, even day like today. She was also my friend, and I remember light skin went to, let's call this one Anna. Light skin went to Anna and told Anna, she was like, oh, Anna, did you know that Quincy likes your man or whatever? And it was so funny. Like Tiana didn't even take it funny. What did I call her? Did I call her Tiana? No, her name wasn't Tiana. What's her name again? I can't remember. The one that was dating light-skinned cousin, whatever. She was just like, she just thought it was cute because it was much younger than them and whatever, and I have a crush on this guy and he's older than me. So she just looked at it like, she's so cute. She didn't even pay me no mind or whatever it is. And yeah, so I remember being so much in like or love or whatever it was with I can't remember the name I gave to her. Let's call her Jay. So I remember being so much in like with Jay's boyfriend, but I liked him even before the two of them started dating. So anyway, that was that, and I became this Guyanese dancer in high school, and eventually that semester finished, and after that semester finished, September came, and that's when a whole bunch of like the grade 8s ended up starting grade 9 or whatever, and I ended up meeting this person. Now she is a very important person in this story time, so we're going to forget everybody else. We're gonna forget light skin, we're gonna forget every single body we're going to forget, and now we're going to focus on this person right here. She is going to take us into part 2 of this story time. We are going to call her, let's see, I need a name for her. We're gonna call her Shan Shan. Okay, once she look at the story time, she'll know exactly who she is. Okay, so Shan Shan, she is also Jamaican. And I remember Shan Shan coming to the school, and for some reason, like all the boys at the school, like their age, like the grade 9ers, like all the guys used to make fun of Shan Shan, and I'm always wondering why. And then when you got down to the bottom of it, apparently like when she was fresh from Jamaica, her Jamaican accent was so strong, so the guys used to make so much fun of her at elementary school. So she would dig her booger and wipe it on the guys. So they would always make fun of her, which I thought was so stupid. Like, why are you making fun of somebody because of their accent? Like, that's called bullying, you know? I was bullied too because of my accent many times. Many times. By one of the characters I mentioned in the story time. In this story time, sorry. So, alright. So, Shan Shan came to the school. And like I said, for some reason, she just had lots of enemies. And yeah, I am going to end this story time right here because I do not want to give you guys too much details. I'm going to do part 2 to this story time probably next week, Wednesday. So yeah, you guys can look out for that. I hope you guys enjoy this story time of how I became the Guyanese dancer in high school, but maybe that's what I'll name this story time, how I became the Guyanese dancer in high school. Please subscribe to my channel and turn your bell on so that you would not miss part 2 to this story, because it's getting very juicy, especially part 3. That's the major part of this story. I'm only telling you guys about, I'm only telling you guys about part 1 and part 2 so that you guys can understand part 3, because I will mention the characters in part 1 and part 2, and I don't want you guys to be confused, so that's why I'm telling you guys about part 1 and part 2. So yeah, bye.